G'day bro beans, what's up? It's Matty Smith from Hoka One Australia here, and I'm here today to give you guys a rundown on whether you should pick the new Rincon or the new Clifton 6. Comparing these shoes today, I did do a review on the Clifton 6 about 3 weeks ago, just before it launched, so I will throw that up in that corner up there. So if you haven't watched that already, be sure to click on the link here, or if you want to watch that video after finishing this video, the link will be in the description down below. And I pretty much went through in 90 seconds the Clifton 6, what it's all about. But today it's really about whether the Clifton 6 is better than the Rincon. So before I get down to the nitty gritty on how the new Rincon actually feels on your foot, I'm going to run through some similarities between the Clifton 6 and the Rincon, just so you understand where the shoes should sort of sit in your arsenal. So the Rincon is obviously a brand new shoe in Hoka's super lightweight arsenal, but looks pretty much exactly the same as the Clifton 6. So what are the similarities? Here we go. Not a lot has changed in terms of actual structure of the shoe. 5mm drop stays 5mm drop. So if you like that sort of 5mm drop in your Clifton 6 or your Clifton 5, 4, even the Clifton 1, it's been the same forever. That's exactly what you're going to get in the new Rincon. So it's going to feel super similar to what you've already got. From there, looking at the actual midsole, it's still that compressed EVA midsole. Just a slightly revised meta rocker, so it's going to be pushing you onto your toes a little bit earlier in your gait. But again, nothing super different to actually how the Clifton 6 feels. Another similarity, or something that's exactly the same in the two shoes, is the stack heights, especially in the men. In the Clifton 6 and the Rincon, it's exactly the same. However, in the Rincon for the ladies, which is this one here, very nice looking shoe, it does drop 1mm from your Clifton 6. So you're going to be 1mm closer to the ground, which really isn't a massive difference. I don't know, I haven't run in a female shoe before, so I can't tell you how that feels, but you are going to be 1mm closer to the ground. From there, this is where we get into the fun stuff. The differences. The weight is unbelievably different. So the Rincon, when I first picked it up, was sort of like the first time I ever picked up a Hoka. The first Hoka I ever picked up was a Stinson Light. Big chunky ugly thing, and I remember picking up and just going, wow, there's no way a shoe can be that light. I had that exact same sort of sensation go through me when I picked up the Rincon for the first time a while back. I picked it up and I almost threw it in the air. It is so unbelievably light. There is no way that there can be a shoe with this much cushioning can feel this light. Going into the stats, in a US 9, the men's Clifton is 255 grams, which is still, for the amount of cushion there, extremely light. I'm using the Clifton 6 at the moment for all my threshold work, all my interval running when I'm not on the track, and like, this is a light shoe and it's a very fast shoe. However, Rincon just takes it a step further. 218 grams. 37 grams difference between a Clifton 6, which is already a super light, fast shoe, to a Rincon. Exactly why I think this is going to be a very big race day favourite. A lot of Ironmen out there. Off the bike, the shoe is going to feel amazing. The marathon runners, again, if you're not a fan of the super firm sort of race day shoes that are out there, something like a Rehi or a Carbon Rocket, if you find that too firm, but you still want something super light, hello, this is ticking all your boxes. In the females, it's exactly the same, and I don't have a female Clifton 6 here to sort of compare the pair, but the female Clifton comes in, and a US 9 comes in at 209 grams, whereas the Rincon, even further, 179 grams. That is racing flat lightness right there, and you can feel it. It is such a light shoe. Moving on, next difference is the upper. The Clifton has a really comfortable, I'd almost say thick upper. It's got a thicker tongue. It's just soft everywhere. The Clifton 6 is just a really soft shoe. Hugs you, and I have a very narrow foot, and I still find that it hugs me throughout the wider toe box, and it still locks me down, especially with the stitching that they put up the side of the shoe. I'm really loving that. The Rincon more has that, again, racing flat sort of upper. It's just one piece. It's very thin, so it'll drain well, and that just means there's nothing to it. Despite that, it locks you down onto the bottom of the shoe. You don't feel like you're sliding anywhere. The tongue in the shoe is a little bit thinner. Again, it's a racing shoe, so you want to be cutting back as much weight as possible. Compared to the Clifton 6 to the new Rincon, it's just a little bit thinner. In terms of comfort, I don't find it changes that much. It's got the lace locks that run up the middle of the tongue, so it's not going to be sliding side to side. On the bottom of the shoe, despite pretty much having the same stuff going on underneath, there is a significant less amount of rubber. In terms of amount of grip you're gonna have, it doesn't really change it so much. It's more the durability factor and the fact that rubber is heavy. So obviously if you are trying to make a really light shoe, you're gonna get rid of all the rubber you can on the bottom of the shoe. Well, obviously as a racing flat, the Rincon's not gonna last as long as a Clifton 6. Durability is gonna be the downside of that, but you shouldn't be running 1000K in a racing shoe anyway. Next we have, this is my favorite one. Triathletes out there, look at the size of that tab on the back, especially even to your standard Clifton 6, which a lot of the Hockers have, or a lot of other shoe companies have on their racing flats. This has got like a reinforced massive tab, but that is huge. You can get almost all 4 fingers into that. That's 3. Like you could yank on that for days. It's just gonna make you getting your foot into your shoe so much easier. Again, it looks a bit funny. It's a Hocker. At Hocker, we do things a little bit differently. So I really think that is a positive innovation for all the multi-sport athletes out there who want a shoe that they can just smash on out of transition to and then run really fast in. So in terms of how the shoe actually feels under your foot, and the answer is, from my personal experience, very similar but very, very different at the same time. In terms of cushioning under your foot, obviously because they've got the same stack heights and the 5mm drop, the ride of the shoe feels almost identical. But when you get up to that sort of top end speed, the Rincon just goes into its own dimension. It's so much lighter, so much more responsive. It's just a racing shoe, and I love that. When I first heard about the Rincon almost 12 months ago now, I honestly thought to myself, why are they bringing out another shoe that's a racing shoe? We had the Rehi come out, the Carbon X coming out, we had the Carbon Rocket launch, you've got your Mac. I thought, why are we putting another shoe into that already sort of heavily densified area of racing shoes? And now I've run it, I know why. They've done such a good job with designing a shoe that you're going to be comfortable and can run very fast, and because it's so light. The pros and cons of the shoe, a little bit more detail on how accessible they are, pricing. I feel that I have to pick up the shoe I'm about to pick up because I've had so many people ask me what it's like, whether it's worth buying, and I haven't done a review on it only because if you go on YouTube and you type the name of the shoe in, 50,000 reviews already come up, and obviously I'm talking about the Carbon X. This bad boy here, which again is just another unbelievable shoe that Hocker has spent a lot of time perfecting. I think it was 3 years that was spent sort of perfecting the carbon plate that sort of splits in the middle, up the middle of the shoe. I remember, I think it was 2015, I first saw the original sort of Carbon Rocket. There was another one that didn't get released. Then I got my hands on a prototype of the Carbon Rocket that was released. Mine was a little bit thinner, and then they released that. Was a good shoe, a little bit firm, and then they obviously released the Carbon Rocket, which is sort of sold unbelievably around the world. It's not a Nike 4%. I feel that a Nike 4% you can run any distance in and run fast, whereas in a 10K I'd probably still wear my Carbon Rocket. This is going to be my longer distance shoe. I want a softer shoe for the long stuff. I want a nice firm hard shoe for the 5 and the 10K stuff, so that's where the Carbon Rocket sort of lies, or even the Rehi. I'm a big fan of the Rehi. I do a lot of my triathlons in a Rehi. So this is more my specific half to full, not that I've done a full marathon yet, but when I do, I'll be in one of these. Going back to the Rincon, I really think where this shoe is going to win people over, and I'm talking in Australian dollars here, so I apologise to all the Americans and Europeans out there watching this video. Obviously, I'm from Australia by the accent, so I'm speaking in Australian dollars. Where this shoe, the Rincon, is going to win a lot of people over is the price. So Hocker have always sort of been a premium shoe brand, very high prices. Bondi's always gone for around 250 Australian. Speedgoat and Mafade, 260. Your Carbon Rocket or your Carbon X jump up to 280, 279.95 if you want to get specific, but $280. Clifton 6 here is $10 more expensive than the original Cliftons were, so all the old Cliftons went for $220. This one's $230. And now you have this bad boy who jumps in at $200. It's $199.95. $200 is an absolute steal. Massive kudos to Hocker there, managing to get a price down to that sort of range. I honestly thought it was going to be a bit more than the Clifton. I thought it was going to be a $240 shoe, like the Mac and even the Tracer. I think was $240 when it first launched. Cheapest, probably fastest, big threshy shoe in the middle. Your most expensive is going to be the shoe that gets you faster over the longer stuff. I still believe that if I was to run a marathon today, I would run faster in the Carbon X compared to the Rincon, but everyone's different. Some people don't like the stiffness of the Carbon X, don't like that huge rocker, Rincon. If you are a Clifton fan but want a lighter shoe, Rincon. If you can't afford a Carbon X for $280, Rincon. If you can't afford a Clifton, Rincon. There are just so many positives to this shoe. Really think it's going to sell well, not just here in Australia. I think it's going to sell well globally. Obviously colours, big thumbs up as well. In Australia, this also comes in a red grey, and this one comes in a sort of a whitish colour. So in conclusion, is the Rincon better than the Clifton 6? Depending on what you want to use it for, yes. If you want a fast racing shoe that's going to get you through a race comfortably with the same feel as a Clifton, but just super, super lightweight, very responsive, then yes, the Rincon is a better shoe. If you want a shoe for long miles, a lot of threshold work that you can run in every single day, have it last 800 kilometers, then the Clifton 6 is still your go-to. I think this is the best Clifton they've done in the series since the first one. I think it's softer, it hugs your foot better with that newer upper. It's just fantastic. But if you're doing races, then you absolutely cannot go past a Rincon. Thanks for listening. Any questions, please feel free to leave a comment below. I'll have the answers to 95% of them. And apart from that, I'm out of here. So until there's a new Hoka shoe, I will see you next time.